that's something you would do to a grown person on the road.
Yeah.
Not a 15-year-old child at a school.
Yeah.
There was no safeguard. There was nothing.
There's been a lot happening at the moment.
On the news, and
Yeah.
I think oh God, I never know where to place this mic. I think one of the biggest ones currently is the whole child queue situation that's happening currently.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know about the child queue situation, it was basically when, I think it happened 2 years ago in 2020.
I heard that, but I thought it was a recent thing.
Yeah, no. It literally happened in 2020. I didn't know that either.
Why is it being
it's
now?
probably being properly investigated now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so it's been quiet this whole time, or
I don't know, maybe I should have done more research on that, but maybe they've actually taken action now, or they've taken action before. And you know how sometimes when things go through court, it takes a good while to actually get anything done. So maybe that, I have no idea. But 2 years ago, in a school in Hackney, I think there was a child who was being accused of having cannabis on them, and then they done a strip search on her. And how they done the strip search was, one, she was on her period, and it was like a stripped down search. I mean, they made her like take off all her clothes, her knickers and stuff like that, and they made her like cough, because obviously sometimes people hide stuff in whilst on her period. Parents wasn't notified before this happened, and I think
she was in the middle of exam. That's what I heard she was in the middle of an exam. They took her out, they did that, and then she basically went back in, and no one asked like if she was okay or what had happened or nothing like that, not even the teachers.
That is horrible.
Do you know what, like that is a whole separate scenario. The fact that it happened in the middle of your exams, I feel like that shouldn't even be allowed.
Yeah, with all that stress that you're already going through, and then on top of that,
and then the fact that they sent her back in,
like nothing happened.
And like, what is she supposed to just continue as if like, no, all of everything that you've been studying for the past 6, 7, 8 months, it's gonna be completely gone from your head.
I couldn't imagine at 15 going through that, and there's already a lot happening at 15, and then plus your exams, and then that on top of it.
Yeah.
And you know what's so funny, Laura? Like, obviously this happened in 2020, and I have to say this because it was a young black female, like, and in 2020 the whole Black Lives Matter movement was happening, and the whole George Floyd thing was happening.
There was a lot.
It was a lot happening. So I was just like, how can the police and the teachers be so tone deaf? Because I think recently they did announce that this was likely to be racially motivated, because everything was just adding up. You know what I mean? So, but one thing I did want to say was that there's a lot you can say on this.
I mean,
there's so much you can say.
First of all, right, it's weed. My thought is they over-exaggerated that whole situation for weed.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if she had a weapon or a gun, they should still do that. But I'm saying, like, weed is not really any harm to really anyone.
To be doing all of that.
To be doing all of that, yeah. Like, I understand you might have to search her, but not to that extent.
Okay. Child Q is a great example of adultification in ethnic minority kids, because the school went past all safeguarding, resolutions. Like, they could have done, they could have done everything else but that. They could have, like, one, called her mum at least.
Yeah.
Or two, sat her down and said, hey, like, I suspect there's weed on you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give you a moment to leave the weed on the table. you give it to me, and that's
Yeah,
it,
exactly,
sort of
yeah.
thing. That wasn't done.
It was just straight
No
call the
consent,
police,
nothing.
like,
Yeah. And that's something you would do to a grown person on the road.
Yeah.
Not a 15-year-old child at a school.
Yeah.
There was no safeguard. There was nothing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And
no,
I just feel
100%.
like...
that basically all the rules were broken there.
Yeah, and it was horrible. And I just feel like, you know, a lot of people don't understand that.
The teacher, though, that called the parent, called the police, got sacked.
Good,
which is good, yeah. But I think with the police situation and the way they searched her, I think that was disgusting. I genuinely...
And they were women as well.
Were they?
Yeah, it was 2 women.
Oh, I thought they were men.
Oh, that would have been Eve.
We should have double checked, but...
Yeah, no, it was women.
Whoever it was, I feel like... Are you sure you're supposed to strip search people like that? Because surely not.
Yeah.
Surely not. And
they
also...
knew, though. They knew what they were doing. Even physically doing it, you know that is wrong. Even if there's somewhere in the rules that say you must... Deep down in your heart, you know that was wrong. You need to have some sort of... It doesn't matter if you're the police. It doesn't matter if you're going by the rules. Mm-hmm. You will not get in trouble by your general by not taking her pad off. Mm-hmm. You won't... Come on. And if you did, then you know what? You should sit there and be like, forget this job then. Yeah.
If that's the rules. Because you should have some sort of compassion or something in you to sit there and be like, I'm not going to do that. It's wrong.
It's so sad because, you know, low-key, this is... You know what? High-key, this is a form of police brutality. Yeah. And when you think of police brutality, no one ever thinks of this scenario. I think a lot of people, especially me in the past, I always correlated police brutality to, you know, the unjust killing of a black man or an attack, a wrongful attack on a black man. I never correlate it to women or girls. Yes. This whole situation here, I would have never ever thought this could ever happen. And I think that is also part of the problem. Because when people... The stuff that you least expect is the stuff that are often covered up and masked, and because it's covered up and stuff like that, it allows for it to happen. Yeah. Which is upsetting because if more cases like this were happening and spoken about, then I think they wouldn't have felt comfortable doing it because they know that they would get caught and they will get sanctioned. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But when stuff are just left in the shadows, it's like, okay, no one's really talking about it. I can kind of get away with it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And that's why it's 10 times worse. And I just feel like, obviously, there's a lot of reasons why, you know, women and police brutality might not be spoken about a lot. And I'm going to say it. Patriarchy. Yeah. Because, you know, a lot of news outlets are still written by men and, you know...
Run by men.
Yeah. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But, you know, that's a topic for another day. But with that being said, it just pains me because it could have been avoided in so many ways. And then, obviously, my little sister is just 2 years younger than her. And unfortunately... racism is more prevalent in working class environments. Yeah. You know, especially police racism. What's it called? Institutional racism? Yeah. I think that's what it's called. Working class communities have more policing. In schools as well. Did you ever have a police officer in your school? Yeah. Randomly? Yeah. Same. I don't think that is in middle class schools or private school. What is a middle class school? What am I talking about? Private schools. Yeah, do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So with that being said, it's inevitable that we're gonna have more issues with the police, racial issues with the police, because they're there more. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So with that being said, my sister is 2 years younger than the girl in question. It could happen. It could have been my sister. Yeah, it could have been anyone. Do you know what I'm trying to say? 100%. And it's just so scary. knowing that happened when it could have been avoided.
Over weed. I just think over weed. Over weed. Like, I don't even know. Like, and that poor girl, scarred for life. But I just think as well, like, the whole, like, there were so many steps that could have been taken. There were so many different things where it just could have stopped.
Yeah.
The police, the teacher, not calling the mum, the way she was searched, the fact that she had to go back to her exam, like all of these different things. It's just so disgusting, honestly.
And it goes back to thought process as well, because unfortunately, guys, I'm really going in it today. And I feel like I'm waffling because you know when there's so many things in your head and you just want to get onto the mic because we literally only have half an hour. So I was reading somewhere and it was like, what was it? It was like black people are hypermasculine. Yeah. And this goes for like black men and black women. Like we are just seen as more masculine than like other races, which isn't right. But then it serves more for black men because it's like, who doesn't want to be masculine as a man? But for women, it's like, we're seen as like unshakable and strong and independent. But then obviously stuff like that leads to like a lot of negligence. For example, the Child Q case, they treated her like she was
just
a grown man on the road, like someone with a criminal record, like
someone who was so dangerous.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like for you to be strip searched on your reds, like
that's what I'm saying. You're acting as if she's a threat to the world.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? I was like,
that's why I'm like, it's not adding up. Yeah. And like, I was going to say something, what was it, about the police? Like, right, so obviously I didn't realise that actually happened 2 years ago, but obviously if I'm going to collect all this information that I have, that I keep hearing about the police and them not doing their job properly, like George Floyd, this situation, the girl, is her name Sarah? Yeah. That situation, like, adding it all up, it blows my mind because you think we're supposed to feel safe with police.
What?
But what's going on? Because why am I hearing a lot more? I say more now. Maybe when I was little, I was like more guarded with information like that. Yeah. But I'm hearing it a lot more now as I'm growing up that there are big situations that are even like they're actually coming into the news. Maybe they were more hush then.
Yeah.
But
true.
They're coming into the news now that like a policeman has done this or a policewoman's done this or the police have done this.
I think it's good that it's coming out more though, because like me in the past, I used to think that the police were worse in America.
Yeah.
Because you always hear stories about America. I was like, oh, well, thank God I live in the UK because that could never happen to me.
Yeah.
But I realised that the UK police are actually quite tactical in the way they
hide
move.
It. Yeah.
Like,
we see those documentaries on Netflix. Come on.
Yeah. And it's like, not even that they hide it, you know, because it's like, they still do it.
But they think they can just...
Yeah, but it's how they do it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so tactical. It's like, they know what they're doing is wrong, but they know they can get away with it because it isn't as deep as shooting someone dead.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's not talked about a lot or discussed a lot.
Tactically. It's not
they just stop and search someone and then how they do it is like, take my ID badge if you wanna complain. And small stuff like that, it's like, you know what you're doing, it's sick.
Yeah.
But because you know you can get away with it and you know that I'm unlikely to win a case, you turn around and do it. And these are the people that are meant to serve and protect.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, I'm going to put it out there, it's not every police, man and women. But from what we hear in the news, those particular ones, it's like, wow.
Evil.
It's scary.
But then I deep it, Laura. Like, these people, I think we put them on such a high pedestal. These people are human. And to me, I think all human beings are flawed in one way or another. If you are gonna do public service, just remember they are, especially in London, I think we're one of the most diverse cities in the whole of England. There's a lot of police officers, male and female, that are point blank racist. So, for example, they will... Oh, it's so sad because obviously they're going to treat people differently and stuff like that. And, you know, there's not enough proof to say that police officers particularly racist. Not the child Q case because they were. But I'm saying like in a different scenario. But I'm just saying they just need to hire better police officers. Or maybe some form of like...
They've cut a lot. I've heard they've cut a lot of police people out of business, like out of their jobs. But they're always asking, we need more police. Obviously,
just
we know
hiring
that the
anyone at
government's
this
corrupt
point.
with money and whatever anyways. But it's like, sometimes I think, do you just hire anyone?
I think they do.
Honestly.
I really, really, really think they just pick randomers and just hire them. And have you noticed that, like, to be a police officer, that's like a lot of power. Some people just want that power trip and that feel of like, I have control over a lot of situations. Some people are just sick. Do you know how scary that is?
Yeah.
Like, there's some people especially women, like, some women just don't feel comfortable calling the police after they've been assaulted or even sexually assaulted and stuff like that.
Because they just sometimes they think it's not going to go anywhere. And it's sad. Like, obviously there's ins and outs, there's rules to everything, but it's not fair. It's not fair. It's just not. That's fair. The best way I can put it. It's not fair. Like, everyone should feel safe and be able to call the police and for the police to take it seriously, regardless if there's evidence or no evidence or the severity of it or the situation.
I think even like moving forward now, I think the police know that they are fucked. But nothing...
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny? Like, I feel like I'm very proud of the people that dealt with the situation, like the protests that were happening in the school. I'm
so glad they did a protest. Like, I'm so glad.
And not just left it on social media.
Yeah, and not just gone, oh yeah, like this is happening and we can't say anything because we'll get in trouble. No, like the whole school got involved and they didn't go to lesson even though the teachers were telling them go to lesson. Like, I'm so glad they did that because... that going on social media as well, it's just showing like, no, we're going to speak up for ourselves. Because I feel like, you know, the protests that they did for like George Floyd and all over COVID times and restriction times, it's like people were like, forget the restrictions, we're going to go out there and do it. Sorry. And I'm so glad people are doing it and speaking up and raising their voice because I feel like
it does make
if you don't,
if you don't, then
it's going to continue to happen.
Yeah.
The more we raise our voice and say something and just speak on it.
Because you know what's so crazy? Like, a lot of people on social media, sometimes they want to fight the good fight, but they're just lazy with it. I think it's like slacktivism, where you think you're helping the situation by just, I don't know, double tapping, you know, I don't know, a post on the issue and then sharing it onto your story. You feel good. You're like, yeah, I'm helping the good cause.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You need to be going out there, making petitions, fighting the good fight, questioning the people that need to be questioned. I just feel like slacktivism just gets...
Because and you know what? We all do it. I think we all do it.
Yeah.
We all post because we all think, do you know what? I post, someone will see it. And it will do the spiral, which it does because obviously for you to see that post, somebody else has posted it.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes, like obviously we can't be like this all the time, but I'm just saying maybe at least once a week, sit there and go, what have I done that I know has made a difference?
Yeah.
I think if we can all do that, you'll feel good about yourself and it helps the community as well.
That is true. I think it's just crazy because, like, don't get me wrong, reposting is good because then you're spreading awareness.
Yeah.
But there's only so
But don't take that as like, yeah, I'm doing my bit.
Yeah, there's only so far spreading
like,
awareness can do. I mean, if you just spread awareness, you are just telling millions of people about an issue. You're not really solving the issue. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So, like, I'm just really grateful and proud because at school, Laura, has anything mad happened to you at school where you're like...
Yeah, I was going to ask
you feel like
this.
You can't even talk about it. Like, you're like... Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, nothing to that severity, of course, like, but I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Have you? Anything that was mad or anything that you just felt like, this shouldn't be a thing, this ain't fair, this is not right.
Right. I would say there was a lot of microaggressions in school, 1,000%, 1,000,000%. But like I said, microaggressions are not enough for me to say, you feel it. Basically, it means like, you feel like something is wrong. What that person done to you was racially wrong. But it's not enough for me to be like, you racist motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to take your ass to court. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So, but it was just like, I can't believe you said that. But I don't know if you meant it in that way or this way. But I think the only maddest thing that's happened to me is I came in with coloured braids. I think every single person has like gone through some form of this in school. Yeah. Came in, it wasn't even like coloured braids like that. My ends were literally just dip dyed. Like that was it. And then teachers were like, you're not allowed coloured braids. You're not allowed coloured braids. But all the other girls, like all the girls with the straight hair and stuff like that, that was the style. They dip dyed their hair. And I was like, well, what's the difference between that? And it was like, you're not allowed coloured hair in school. And I was like, I told my mum, and mum was like, well, if that's the rules, that's the rules. And I was like,
really?
Mum. Yeah, because she low-key knew that
you to get in trouble
she just knew where this was going to end up going. Yeah. And she was like, you know what, Annie, like, you're not there for long. Just do what you need to do. But I'm like, well...
That's not the point,
That's not the point, though, Mum. Like,
I've had a uniform thing as well. I think it's my own fault. I don't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
But I walked in on what it was like, you go in for an hour before you start school again the next week. So, like, you know, when you start a fresh term. And we came in for like an hour, registration, whatever. And I came in my blazer, my shirt, and my tie. Some trousers that I've been wearing the whole entire time I was at school, but they were black tight trousers rather than tapered, whatever they wanted. Yeah. And then I came in my black heeled boots.
Not the boots.
Well, I thought it's for an hour and they're heeled. I can wear the heeled boots for an hour. It's fine.
Not the boots.
I turned up, right? I walked in the gate and I went to a different gate than usual. So I was like, damn, if I went to the front gate, I would have been fine. And I walked in and they were on the job for the first, day.
Oh,
and she looked at me, she was like, what are these shoes? And
Not
I was
the
like,
boots, Laura.
I was like, these are the only shoes I have. Like, I don't even know what to say.
Oh, that silly excuse.
And then she looks at my trousers and she goes, what are these trousers? And I was like, hold on a second. Everyone, they were from Primark. Every girl had these and were wearing these. Like, come on. I was like, these are just normal trousers. She was like, well, you got detention after school. I said, I'm here for an hour. This ain't a normal school day. I'm here for an hour. And she was like, no, you got detention. So I had to go to it.
Going back and forth with... Oh, wait, you actually went to the detention.
Oh, yeah.
That
was my first and last detention ever, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, over uniform. And all the kids are in there because of, like, I don't know, disrupted lesson or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was just sat here waiting. Actually, most of us were there for uniform because they were really on it that day when it was only an hour.
No, but the boots, Laura. I could see whether you went with the trousers, but the boots, you wanted to be sexy. I could imagine.
It was like first day back. I don't know what I was doing.
First day back.
But I do think, if we're talking about school and just generally like rules and stuff, I don't think uniform should be as big of a deal as it actually is, because what are we here for? We're here to learn. We're here to grow and get our information so we can get the fuck out and live our life as an adult, right? I don't want to be pulled out of class or walking into a class and being told your shirt, your tie is too small, your skirt's rolled up, you're this, you're that, because and do you know what it is? Like, yeah, they tell the boys tuck in your shirt and do your tie, but they're not saying to the boys, tuck in your shirt because it's making all the girls look at you. But with our skirts, oh, don't roll up your skirt because it's too short. Why is it too short? Oh, because you can see your bum. Well, you can't really see my bum. Yeah, we're showing a little bit of leg. We're not nuns here. Like, oh, I remember being told about my I wore like knee length socks.
Okay.
They can't be up to here. No, they have to be just below the knee. Why? It's a bit odd.
I didn't understand the uniform rules, to be fair. Like, I just thought it was a bunch
I wish you came to
BS.
our school when we had uniform, because honestly...
I think uniform for me was literally the worst.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't understand why my blouse had to be...
Top button.
Who the hell wants their top button done up? Obviously, you know, it's to make you look professional and prepare you for the corporate world environment.
But it doesn't.
When you leave school.
But it doesn't.
But
we're not really... Are we really prepared? We're not... I haven't worn a shirt since school. I haven't done a top button since school.
Oh my God.
I haven't worn a tie since school. Maybe
it's
the men.
Crazy.
Do it for the men. Tell the men to wear, you know, ties and shirts. But like, seriously.
Not the ties and shirts.
No, but it's honestly, I just think uniforms shouldn't be as big of a deal. And especially with hair. If we want to dye our hair, we want to dye our hair. I remember girls being told if they had like, you know, false nails, take the nails off. The eyelash, the makeup, if you had too much makeup. And I'm thinking, rah, what is this got to do with learning?
Yeah, like what is the actual reason? That's what I'm saying. Schools, the whole institution of just everything.
Because I really deep in the whole makeup thing. Like, I wore like mascara or whatever back at school, and you know, we all had lip gloss, but like, I just think we're doing it because it makes us feel better. I'm not saying we're doing it for other people, but like, sometimes we do it to make ourselves feel better, and you're coming in and telling us to take it off. We walk around school and we feel like shit. We're not going to have a good day. We're not going to want to learn. We're not going to want to sit there because we might feel... Some girls have insecurities, you know. They might have acne and they're wearing foundation. Sometimes just make sure your foundation matches. But other than that...
Oh my God.
Do you get what I mean? It's just like, leave us girls alone, please.
Yeah.
Leave the girls at school alone because we go through enough.
We go through enough.
At that age.
I think that age is such a crucial moment because like a lot of things are happening with friendships. You start like maturing a little bit and like you start being interested in boys. You know?
Yeah.
And like you're
figuring yourself out.
Yeah.
Your friendships are always up and down.
Puberty, hormones.
Yeah.
I really, really pray for that girl because she made a statement. Well, her mum made a statement. And it was like, it has scarred her. Like, there's days where she doesn't eat. She will sit in a bath and fall asleep in a bath. Because you know that feeling of like...
Oh, God. That's horrible.
Yeah, you know, probably depressed and stuff like that.
You could tell it's scarred her for life. Like, it's not...
I can't imagine me at 23 dealing with that. Imagine 15 where
she hasn't even gotten into life yet.
Yeah.
And that has set her back.
I think the teachers have really, really... I don't want to talk about institutional racism yet. It is crazy. It's crazy how it's still happening. The cheek, the actual audacity. It's like,
Who gave you the right?
Who raised you? Like, who raised you to pick up the phone, call the police?
Yeah.
And at 23, I'm stuttering because I'm so speechless. Like, I am... Every time I deep the situation, you know, I actually cried because I was explaining it to my little sister. Because, you know, when you have to have that conversation...
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be... And my mum's conversations are so stiff. She's very blunt. So there's not really a lot of understanding in terms of, like, how to say it.
Yeah.
So obviously I had that conversation with my little sister. And she was just like, well, what if this happens? And what do I do if this happens? God. And who do I call if I can't... Like, I was telling her about institutional racism and stuff like that. And, like, microaggressions. And she was like, so what do I do? And I was like, shit. Like, she even said, like, oh, so is the world, like, not the world, but, like, are people against me? Like, what do I physically do?
God, yeah.
And I was like, girl, I don't even know. Like, I was like, I don't even know, because I'm still growing up learning.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
Yeah.
So, with that being said, like, I really, really do... What everyone knows, they completely failed her.
Yeah.
And that's going to live with her and her family for the rest of their lives.
Life.
And I hope the police officers are properly sanctioned. I don't think it's enough to even fire the head teacher. She could never enter school again. I don't want to see her as a head teacher or even a teaching assistant or anything to do with...
Any teacher that was involved. I'm so sorry.
She doesn't even deserve a job.
Yeah.
Because if you think that was acceptable, what else could you think is acceptable?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. On a teacher basis, you're another safe person for these kids. I feel like you should be in the minds of these kids and just understand them.
There was no understanding.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, if I was a teacher, like, I would do anything possible just to make sure that, like, look, like, if you've got weeds on you, it's not a good thing.
But chat to me, why do you have the weed?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly. Why is it straight away like, you need to be punished? You know it's wrong. There's no compassion. There's no understanding. There's no, do you know what? Let's get you on the right track.
But that's why I even talked about the adultification thing, because it's like, that's what you would do to a child. But remember, a lot of ethnic minority kids aren't seen as kids. They are seen as more mature. So that's why they even take the violence.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't, but like the violent approach of like going straight to the authorities, which is so damaging. And I can't imagine, like, if that's what she's gone through, I can't imagine any other.
Oh, exactly.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
There's
so it's just a cycle.
So many other scenarios
that just needs to break.
Yeah.
I pray in 22 that
there's a change. Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. But on that note, we'll be back next week with a more upbeat episode. But it's something that had to be said. Like, we had to speak on this topic because we're not 30. We are 21, 23. And we know we've been there. We know what it's like to be a child, like a 15-year-old at school. And we're not far from that age anyways. It's still fresh in our heads. Yeah. And I feel like this is why, like, we should kind of just touch on it.
Should we do, like, a thoughts thing on our Insta? Like, what are your thoughts of the whole situation, if you would like to add to anything we said today?
Yeah, or even comment down below on the video. But yeah, Instagram, we've got the juice.
And tell a friend to tell a friend.